Good morning. So, that's a very exciting project to follow. And what I want to talk about is I actually want to go back in time and create a context for who Kern County actually is now and how we got here. So, as you noted previously, we have been the center of energy production in California and the US since 1899. So 33 years after Kern County became a county, a hand-dug 70-foot well struck oil and forever changed our future and the future of California and the United States. And I understand that you have to get an appointment to go see that historical marker, and I think that somebody from Chevron is probably here and can get you an appointment if you want to go see the historical marker at Round Mountain Road in China Lake. I was charmed when it said call for appointment. So it is still a functioning oil field. It is the Kern Front oil field, and as you heard, technology continues to transform how the oil company operates. So, agriculture and energy production became our economic base, and for 116 years, they still are. This is thousands of jobs, property taxes, sales tax revenue, and most importantly, the people who live here and go to our schools and play in our parks and become our family. So before I talk about what's going to happen in the next 25 years, I want to give you a bigger context of actually what has happened in the last 25 years. Because I don't really know that everyone understands who Kern County is. Starting in 1996, California began to deregulate the energy sector. And by the year 2000, we had blackouts all over California. And one of the reasons, among many market-driven issues, was that we hadn't built a new in-state generation for 30 years. We hadn't built a new natural gas power plant, a new nuclear plant for 30 years because of the environmental restrictions and siting challenges in California. So there was a crisis, and people wanted their lights on. So the state of California and Sacramento took action and changed the rules and called for streamlining. And the result was the fast-tracking of 3 large new natural gas power plants, all in Kern County. La Paloma is 1,124 megawatts. It is the largest, newest natural gas power plant in the state. And Elk Hills and Sunrise followed for another 1,137 megawatts. In the space of 2 years, those projects were permitted and La Paloma was into construction. And while they were permitted by the California Energy Commission, they needed a local partner. And they found it in the Kern County Board of Supervisors, who understood energy production, understood environmental siting, and could bring them into production with our building codes and our building department. The Board of Supervisors provided leadership when Sacramento was in crisis. And at the same time, because of energy, the Tehachapi Renewable Energy Transmission Project started working. The wind companies and Southern California Edison started looking at what would it take to get more transmission. If the state of California wants renewable energy, then they're going to have to do something about transmission. And it only took about 12 years to permit this new 173-mile line. And it was specifically to bring it into Kern County. It was specifically designed to bring power from the Tehachapi wind area down to Southern California. And Kern County, working with companies, working with our collaborative partners at Southern California Edison, worked out an alignment, and this project started our revolution in renewable energy. So in 2009, the planning department, the building department, was doing whatever we were doing in 2009 when we started having hundreds of phone calls from solar and wind companies who said There's a new transmission line. It's finally going to be built. Wind hub, Whirlwind, all of this new 4,600 megawatts. We need to know where to go, and we need to know how to permit. And at that point, the issue became, what is our partnership going to be with these companies? And inside the Board of Supervisors leadership again, the answer was, we need to bring our expertise in permitting to help them streamline through the environmental siting challenges that California still had. I know you've heard some numbers, but I actually keep track of them. It's $28 billion of private investment, okay? I think the solar companies forgot about the wind that we also invested. So just so you know, with 8-Minute Energy's closing of their $400 million, they're here someplace, financing last week, we're at $28 billion of private investment in Kern County from renewable energy. And the Kern County Board didn't waive one fee. We didn't put up any money. What we did is we put up the sweat equity of our staff, the staff of the building department, the staff of public health, the staff of the planning department, to work harder and longer to find out what our industries need. And what did the state of California bring to this? Well, it's true that they provided a directive to utilities. 33% of the power must come from renewables by 2020. But unfortunately, they didn't send us a CEQA exemption. And their state partners, which is Fish and Wildlife and Water Board, were all milling around trying to figure out, what do we do now? And so we appreciate that they've worked with us to find a way through. But in reality, they left it to local government to produce their results. And so I am happy to say that by the end of 2015, Kern County, countywide, cities, school districts, water districts, private companies that are using solar on-site, rooftop, and our large-scale commercial solar, wind, and geothermal, we will have permitted 10,000 megawatts, 8 times more than any other county or city in California. Thank you. Now, Imperial County is coming up on 2,000 thanks to 8-Minute Energy, who's a sponsor today. But I'm not sure they're going to actually, they make pronouncements to me that they're going to try to close that gap, but I think we're well ahead of them, and I'm not sure they're going to make it. So the question then moves to, what about the industry that started this all with their hand-dug 70-foot well? Well, they continue to lead the nation in oil production and innovation. As you noted, we produce 80% of the oil in California, and well stimulation, which has been in the news, 97% of that well stimulation is done here in Kern County. And they were moving along. Barrels of oil were high. Things were good. And then there was a problem in Sacramento again. So starting in 2012, questions and concerns about oil production practices, these were legitimate questions, especially surrounding well stimulation, and underground injection questions, started to slow the permitting in Sacramento. And it frankly began to send a message to the rest of the investment world that California wasn't a good place to do business. You should put your money in West Texas or North Dakota or even Vernal, Utah, before you come back to California, not because there isn't oil and not because there aren't companies, but because Sacramento can't figure out how to regulate it. So as I always like to remind people, the oil can't move, but the permitting can stop. So the Board of Supervisors provided leadership again, and in 2013 directed staff to assist the industry and the state in creating a local permit system, a comprehensive environmental impact report that would streamline permitting. The result is the proposed Kern County zoning ordinance and EIR. It's being presented for public hearing and ongoing public discussion on Monday to the Board of Supervisors. Project did have the unanimous recommendation of the Planning Commission, and we really look forward to the public comments on Monday and continuing to refine and discuss, what are the appropriate environmental regulations to protect our air, protect our water, but still support the economic stability of a primary business that we have. The staff report will be online tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we look forward to everyone reading the 2,285 pages of comments and dialogue, because it is an ongoing discussion. It is a hearing to discuss what we've presented. So the title of this is, what about the next 25 years? What's my prediction? Well, I rely on Mark Twain, who was asked in the middle of a storm on the Mississippi, what was the name of the first point above New Orleans that they could safely get into? And he said, I was gratified to be able to answer promptly, I don't know. So I answer, I don't know either. But I do know some guideposts of who we are. So what are some predictions? And I defer to our eminent speaker, Peter, who can speak more eloquently about these global issues. But I'm sure that everyone would agree that we do have future global political unrest in the next 25 years, and we will always need food and fuel and national security. 3 things that Kern County does. So what are some of those general statistics? They predict there'll be a 35% increase in energy consumption in the next 25 years, of which, of that 35%, 24% will be from fossil fuels. And by 2030, we will need to increase food production by 50% for 9 billion people on the planet. That's 61 million more people in America, of which 8 million of them are going to be in California. And so the message from the last 25 years in California will shape Kern County for the next 25 years. And I say that message is, when Sacramento has a crisis, Kern County produces a result. We have done it for the last 25 years, and we will do it for the next 25. From water banking to aerospace R&D to our military airspace flight and ground operations, we are innovation. And I know everybody loves Silicon Valley. I love them too, and I want them to come to the Mojave Air and Spaceport. But they deal in bits and cyberspace, and the world needs real results, okay? That may be a 3D rendition of Glass Point, but it has to be actually built on the ground someplace to make a difference. That is who Kern County is, and that is what we provide for the future. And so we have a track record, we have expertise in our business communities and our centers of excellence to solve the problems of California in energy production, water, food production, while supporting jobs. So what are those new areas? Well, we're going to continue to streamline and innovate in the oil exploration and extraction. Glass Point is an example, and there are hundreds of examples. This is an innovative industry that will continue to look to see how to get the oil out of the ground and still safely protect our jobs and our environment. We are going to be working to expand our transmission capacity. Sacramento asks me all the time, that's wonderful, how do we get to 50%? I said, you better send some transmission. Okay, you want to get to 50% renewable. You don't have enough capacity and you don't have enough balanced in CAISO to make it happen. We certainly have enough interested companies, but we don't have enough transmission, and we want to put it in the right place to enrich Kern County jobs and enrich our future. We need energy storage, and we need innovative pilot projects. The planning department is ready and willing to discuss with anyone energy storage projects that can help balance the network. CO2 sequestration projects are in our future. They still are not completely in the ground, rather than off the ground. But certainly we see that as things that need to move forward. We will be repowering our wind areas in 25 years. One of the great investments of food and energy is that once the infrastructure is built, it's not a big box that's going to leave for someplace else. So we have transmission capacity, we have already disturbed areas of wind and solar, and I actually predict that many of our solar projects in the next 15 to 20 years will actually increase their efficiency and may actually just change up on the very same site where they are now. I know we have many solar developers here who have predicted 30-year lifespans, but with the innovation of the industry, I see repowering of solar projects as another growth industry. And then we also are going to be looking, with this transmission capacity, at large-scale streamlined permitting for areas of the county for renewable energy. And we welcome a discussion with our solar and wind and geothermal and other partners on how do we streamline this process even more. I would not call 12 to 14 EIRs a year streamlining. Sacramento does, because we just do them faster and better than anybody, but I don't call that streamlining. I call that sweat equity. I call that just moving the projects through. We want to take it to the next level and do large-scale siting. We're going to be updating our general plan and our energy element, and we want to have those conversations. So all of the above is our energy motto. We're always ready to produce a result here in Kern County with the leadership of the Kern County Board of Supervisors, and we look forward to working in the next 25 years on whatever crisis Sacramento comes up with, and we will produce the result. Thank you. So I'm available for questions, but I have veto power over the questions. So, any questions? Okay, ready to produce a result. Thank you so much.